Hello and welcome. It is Wednesday, the 10th day of October 2018. This is not the crypto day evening, although it technically is the evening for me. When I do the crypto day mornings, when they get uploaded, they're really only for the people watching in the United States and Canada and I guess South America as well that can say they're watching it in the morning. This is a time frame where if you're watching this as it comes out, unless you're in Japan or Australia or of the like, it's not the morning for you right now. But that's like whatever. It's just a name more than anything else. As far as Bitcoin on the daily term time frame, it just stays hanging in there amongst the 18 average. On the 3-day time frame, ditto, staying within the 18 average on microscopic volatility. And one of the things that have been going on for quite some time now within at least my trading aspect is low volume for me. I don't get so many trades coming in, as a lot of the other markets are sharing very similar things where they're really not going up or down much. But it does seem amongst at least the altcoin community over the last several weeks, at least the last 2 or 3 anyway, that everything is basically not going down, and the odd ones are going higher, as we can see with Cloak. And everything you do is within your own risk, own reward, as I'll do that disclaimer now for this video. But since July 30th, this has been in a sideways range of about 38,000 down to 26,000. It's been in a long downtrend before then. But as I've talked about different turns, like Magic the Gathering, in this case, bulls versus bears. One person goes, they pass the dice or pass the turn, if you will, and then the other team goes, or other person goes. In this case, we can see, we'll just say from September of last year, the bears were in control until the start of December. The bulls take control into the start of January, where the bears played into the end of March. The April Fool's rally spent the entire month of April, at least in this case up to April 16th, with the bulls in charge. The bears have been in charge from that point till now. But when you got price action just hanging in there as it is, it becomes neutral. It's almost like, okay, I'm not person who was in the turn before, in this case the bears, is unsure if they want to keep their turn going, or maybe are trying to but unable to, possibly, because if this thing can break out to the upside, it would be the bulls having control. But as this plays out, at least for this coin, I like the setup of a situation where you have this down move and then you have another one. It's matching low, higher low, however you want to look at it. But what do we see here on the 3-day, at least with Cloak, showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs? We pan this out to the daily chart. We've seen a lot of that, even showing the strength in here at around 35,000. It had a little quick move to 45 and is just mainly hung in there, going sideways, doing not much at all lately. Again, it seems as if the altcoins are either not doing much, going sideways, or having some bull market run higher, or legs higher. Here's Ethereum as another perfect example of another coin not doing anything. And within these coins, there's been times like last December, January, which I'm going to just go to here in a bit. As we can see, this thing goes from 0.023 to 0.12, so about a 6x gain. That they all the coins went up together amongst that period. On the 3-day time frame, we can see this big bull run, March into June. Well, all the coins had those types of runs before. And during the downtrends, it's been that same way. When this went down from June until December, the primary trend for Ethereum against Bitcoin, as was the case with primarily every other single altcoin, was lower. So since the start of the year highs and the April Fool's rally, everything has been going down together. And that's pretty much been the case. They go up together, they go down together. Another quick note too, as far as Bitcoin, it seems as if, well, if Bitcoin goes higher and it makes a significant move up compared to that of lower, and a significant move is 20% on either direction, we'll say, or at least a decent gain either or loss either way. That if it goes up, then all the other altcoins should go up against Bitcoin or outperform in a bull run. And if it goes down, Bitcoin that is, all these coins are going to go down and have higher percentage losses than that of Bitcoin, which might be the case. But worth noting is this sell-off from June, the second half of last year, happened when Bitcoin was in a primary bull market. And a lot of the reasons why these coins went down, at least tracking this against Bitcoin, was because you'd have situations where over several days, maybe Bitcoin would go up like 30-40%. Yet other coins like Ethereum would go up 2% or down 5%. And then there was just big differential moves to the downside. A lot of these altcoins topped in the middle into 2018. Bitcoin topped early in December of last year. So it extended a run when Bitcoin necessarily didn't do so. So important of note, just because Bitcoin doesn't go up doesn't mean the altcoins will, but it does seem as if it's a good chance that it would be the case that when these altcoins go higher, when Bitcoin goes higher, the altcoins will as well. But the coins are not going up and down together. However, when they have in the past before, there's always going to be your early movers to get there. In this case, this bottomed right at the end of 2016, when a lot of other coins bottomed at the end of February or into early March of 2017. So this was an early riser higher during its run up. So now let's move on to ARN or Arion. I talked about this morning, 3-day term time frame. Let's switch it up to the daily. And it's come up to its previous support from last May, and well, the May support levels, we'll say. Now, question mark, will this become resistance? It's a heavy level where it should. And if there isn't going to be much resistance in this area, I would expect a decent sized move probably to get into the 20 number, if not even a little bit higher, and test some of these previous areas here, which would be the April Fool's high, as well as this congestion area in here from the January highs of last year. But also one of the things that I think of, and I haven't done it, but what I've considered is when you have some of these altcoins going up when all the other ones are not, then why not sell everything that you own in a code like this because it's up so much, and then put it into another altcoin that's going sideways or that you like the Ethereum as an example. And then hopefully that one will have its next turn and go higher. But even still, let's just assume I sold this for Ethereum and this goes down, say, to 9,000, 8,400. I could be like, okay, now I can just sell the Ethereum and buy this back. Because the whole point of it is, hey, I can sell it all at about 14,000, try to get it back under 10,000. Oftentimes when you have these big moves, that's just what these coins do. And because of the fact that only a few coins are having these up moves right now, if you sell those, buy something else that has not had its up move, then maybe you can get another move that way. I mean, it's really difficult to predict that something's going to go higher, and if you do, you might have to wait. In this case, it was predictable that this was going to go higher because of all of these days showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, especially in around this area here. But it meant if you were buying then on the September 28th, with 2 days remaining in the month, that you had to wait till the 6th day of October, basically a week, for the move. And that's just part of it. I talked about another coin today, which was Loom. I think it was Loom. And it was. And it's had a good day today, as we can see. It was showing a lot of strength too amongst this level. And but maybe 2 or 3 hours after I did my video, this thing broke out, as we can see right in here. And it was showing a lot of strength. So when you were looking at this before the fact, this was showing a lot of strength. And when you look at it from the point of view of resistance high, this is one of the situations where it came up to it, and it spent a little bit of time resisting there, but not much. And when it broke it, did it ever do such? Expect that with all of the coins. When you, especially on the upsides, when you break key resistance, that phenomenal down or up moves and green sized candles are going to come into place. So now you have a situation like this where you've had a move. Now it's that question mark of, okay, is this, at least for now, a legit move? Are we going to have another leg higher? It's already came down and had its original decent price correction from this high, going from 2240 down to 2040, but it's only decent. It's only about 10% of a down move. As far as its up move from this low, 1700 up to 22, that's like 500 basis points, 30%. And really, you gotta say, only 30%. And now since this move, it's had a little bit of up move since that point. And it could very easily just chop around, starting to have its volatility shrink in time and stay below this high and maybe pierce below this. And that's one of the things that could happen. But if this thing is able to get above the resistance that it established, now you can start talking about getting up. And like right now, we've came back to where we came from the support of June. Well, the next level would be the resistance from that area, which would be in the area of 36 up to 43. And when we talk about the coins that can have big moves, 10x, 20, 30 are, and even over 100 for some of them, definitely reasonable. And they may be insane moves, but people say insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Okay. So if you're expecting that these 10x, 20x, 50x moves not to happen, well, that's kind of insane because they always do. So it's sanity to have quote-unquote insane moves, which when you look at different ways of your portfolio and how you can make it grow exponentially high, that gives tremendous opportunities to do such. I'm going to switch this up to EVX, which is something that I bought a few days ago. I bought it at 8,000. I would have bought it right here on this breakout. And I guess the only mistake I didn't do was just add a small amount in here. I could have. I didn't. I was, I guess, waiting for the prices to drop in the 6,000-ish range to add more. And then when you look at technical analysis amongst this, you notice the volume in here. It started to pick up amongst the move, but as far as the movements are concerned, you establish this level of resistance, you come back to the band, you make a lower high, but then you still continue to hold this, and then when you break this key area, off she goes. Now, I didn't sell it here. My sell order is much higher, or noticeably higher than 9,600. But the question is, and it's been hard for me to buy into new things. I really haven't been doing too much. So the fact that I bought this was very rare for me. When you look at the daily term time frame, you'll probably understand why I did such. I mean, this to me is gold mines. With stuff like this, and even to this little degree in here. I mean, this just keeps on happening. Where this coin, and I guess there's a buy order upper situation here, even these two as well, just keeps on having these kinds of moves where it pierces above and then comes back quickly. This is the action that I like to get. So I looked at this, I'm like, how do I not buy it? And this happened before the day when Binance delisted a few coins, and I had one of them. The one I had was Bytecoin, and I got out of it. And I thought yesterday, well, I did buy, of course, that coin before, but I looked yesterday and a little bit today. man, I can buy another coin. I got all these extra Binance coins available to me. But I never did buy anything. I'm just saying that's very rare right now for me to buy something new and enter into a new position. But this got delisted. You can still trade this on Poloniex. So I thought I could send them there. I almost did. But I thought, you know what? I kind of barely profited on this because I got into it. In here. Sold some, bought some back, sold some more, bought some back, then sold it off to complete it. So microscopic profits for me on this one. Next up, and I talked about this a couple days ago, I think, PivX. And this session in here was a statement after leaving this moved this 18 average, spending over a week successfully staying within the 18 average. But today's session, it managed to come up and retest the previous highs. It's back into this trading range still. But what I like to do with spots like this is shorten out the time frame to help me out a little bit, which I'm going to do. So let's put this onto the 3-hour term time frame. And I can draw a funky little, it's not funky, it's just I decided to say that, a line in here which represents a key area. Not so much in here, but resistance at 5 o'clock October 4th, afternoon on October the 5th, in the morning on October the 8th. That was 3 times hit resistance. So if it can find support, definitely can pierce below that a bit, and then start to see rallying coming up from that point. And then getting above this between 20,000 and 22, getting above there, you could have very, very decent sized gains. As oftentimes, these markets go up a lot faster than they go down. This thing, from, we'll say, the May highs, end of May highs at 55,000 to the September lows, September 12th. That's the months of June, July, August, and really half a month. So 3.5 months it goes down. I would think that it would take a lot quicker for that same style up move to occur. Like 4 days or 8 days. That's the way it normally is when they're ready to go. Next up is Komodo, which was something that was a little fun trade today. As it had one of these types of days, I was able to get some arbitrage opportunities in earlier. Not for great moves, but to make like 1% gains where I could sell for like 1.5% of a difference in price on Binance and Bittrex amongst the two. Buy one place, sell the other. So that's fun to do, get some free extra coins. But just volatile moves that occur. And this is what I like as a trader, to have these situations where I can just have a move like this and then come back to where it came from. Because whether you have a sell here, here, and for me, I had several sell orders that would come up amongst here. And of those, 3 of them I've already bought back, meaning I'd sell some maybe at 1785, then 1809, then maybe 1832, and then 1875, 1924. That's practically how I trade this particular coin. And what I do with it is, because it's in the cheap price, I want complete buyback for the most part. Meaning, if I were to sell, say, for zero, I don't know why it's doing that. I'll just use a calculator, I'll just say it. If I'm selling for, say, 0.02, say 0.0222 worth of Bitcoin, or 0.0022 even worth of Bitcoin, and I sell it at, say, the price point of 1900, then I'm going to, whatever I sell it for, put that number in on the site with my buy order at the lower price. So if I'm selling at 1900, I might put a buy order in for 1810. So if I was selling, say, 10 of them, I would then look to get back, in a case like this, maybe 10.6 or 10.7 back. for pretty much the exact same price that I sold it for. And the strategy is at these lower prices, that's what I'm going to be doing. Every single move that happened, its intense purposes is to try to add more tokens. If price action comes up in this area here, then it would be a combination of both. Meaning, if I say sold at 65,000, wanting to buy back say at 52,000, if the amount of say for example I sold say 20, if I could buy back say 22 on a 10% move say, or even 23 on a 15% move, if I could buy back 23 of them for the same cost, down here I would buy the 23, but here I'll buy between 21 and 22. Thus I would make a small amount of profit on the altcoin, in this case Komodo, and a small amount of profit on the Bitcoin. In situations of fantastic prices, of getting above this resistance and trading over 100,000, well, that means selling like a lot of your big positions for big pullbacks. But it also means, okay, ooh, I just sold say 20 of them at 120,000. Now it's back down to 100,000. I'll buy 20 again, which means I wouldn't be adding anything, and all of the extra amount of that differential would be in profit via the trade. And let's finish this off as we're now 22 minutes in. So this will be the last coin that I'll choose to talk about, and that's POA Network. I call it Point of Attack, which is not the name of it. In fact, a lot of times I'll just point in whatever name. I'm just trying to think of what does POA stand for. And I can't think of any other, but whatever. It's all about pattern situation. This is crossed against Binance coin, just of note. Several days showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs, and really more importantly, holding on to this up day that occurred on September 16th. And then it had a small break above, and it held it for 2 days. But then this down day occurred, bringing it back to where it came from, and the 18 of lows. But since it did that, it had the beautiful, decent green update on tremendous volume, or the biggest volume since August the 24th, on October the 6th. 2 days of holding it on low volume afterwards, amongst the 18 average of highs. The volume starting to pick up again within yesterday's and today's section, and what it's doing is leaving the 18 average. And now let's bring up a line, but it won't be a funky line, it'll be a horizontal line, which they always are when I draw them in anyway. Okay, so we have this level here, which was resistance, as if it means too much, going back to this level in July 29th, or actually August the 7th. It was this complete area of resistance, and this does mean a lot in here. Pretty much was September 29th, and now it has just barely broken it. If this thing could just go off. I just like the pattern how it's left the 18 average. I wouldn't surprise me if it has a decent sized move and quickly gets up to this 1280 mark, 1300, and tests some of this previous area. And that's just where the most conservative place I think it would go if it has a decent size move. Let's take a look at this against Bitcoin. And it's just a very beautiful pattern as it's been playing out since this rally, showing a lot of strength within the 18 highs. But within this one as well, breaking out amongst this pattern to the upside. As far as where this came from, we got an area of about 2,500. You got another big area at about 33.75. as that was the area of previous support from earlier this year in March. And its high from before was about 10,000, and then it fell to under 1,000. So how about a better than an 11x loss? So if it can lose that much, then it sure as heck can gain that back. That's what a lot of these coins have done in the past, have decent legs lower, decent legs higher. I'm not saying that it will, but well, you know what? It does have a decent setup. And what I like about this game, this trading game, is as a trader, you are in control of your own portfolio. It's your decisions, and that's, at least for me, it's my control. I decide what I buy, when I buy, where I buy, how I'm going to sell it, how much I'm going to sell here, what my plan to do with this afterwards is going to be, and so on and so forth. And that puts me into control of this market, and that's the way it should be. And a lot of other people in the same business as myself are in that position. And when you're in control, that means amazing or really bad things can happen, as the market doesn't care how good or how bad one does. Only price pays, and it's going to pay all winnings and losses in that sense too, accordingly to as such. And when I first got into Bitcoin, I wasn't too aware of moving these coins and all this type of stuff. For when I sent funds to the first trading site, which was Poloniex, I sent them from Coinbase. And then I wrote a note from Coinbase saying, this is my account, just because I want to make sure it gets into Bitcoin. Then I put it into another place. Okay, my account number is this. I wasn't sure how it worked, but then I realized that if I go onto a site like Bittrex, Poloniex, Binance, and I look at the deposit address, that address is only for me. And I realized that when it gets to that point, the computers automatically do their things, keyword automatically. And every single transfer that I have done on cryptocurrencies that has been legit, I have once sent, or actually I've twice sent coins to the wrong place. Once losing them, the other time not. But that time I lost the coins. I sent it from I don't know, it was like Syndicate, and then I was sent to Sync or something. It was two names that were close in spelling, but were different. And I sent it from one place to another, and I lost them. And it was about a couple $100 that I lost, maybe. The other time I sent it to the wrong address. It was a big transfer. It was a 4-figure transfer. Thankfully, I was able to get those coins back and successfully transfer them then after. But every single transfer I've done, at least legit, has always came through. And I love that. So, for me, the entire crypto game is what I'm confident on. I am betting, as a calculated advantage gambler, that my portfolio over the next upcoming months and years is going to do fantastic, which is why I'm betting it in such a way. As far as what the next move is going to be, and I'll bring back the Bitcoin chart to use that as a study. Wherever the next move is going to be, I'm predicting if it breaks this down below this key 6,000 support, it's going to go to 3,000. I've talked about that a lot over the last 3 quarters of the year, that it's going to go to 3,000. As I was saying on the way up last year, that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So if this goes up like 3x, you could have you could lose half your value easy. If it goes up 5x, you could lose 3x in a successful scenario. If this thing goes up to, say this thing went up to 1 million, it could have very easily pulled back to 100,000 and lost 90%. That's just understanding its volatility. And one thing I was talking about this before, this was like a half-assed correction back like at the end of the spring, start of the summer. And time has went on, and it's been a time-based correction. So maybe it's a 3/5 ass correction now. It's more than half. It's more than half. Of course, it corrected a lot more back in here, as its correction from top to bottom was how long? It was December of was the end of 2013, and then it got back going. So basically about a full year of a correction, and then even furthermore going sideways in here, that this thing was a good 2-year correction before it got going. So here we are into a correction that has lasted well better than a half a year. Okay. So I don't know if the next move is going to be a significant down move to about 3,000 or resumption of the bull market and then start to take out some of these lower highs and break out past them. Either way, I'm fine with it. And either way, I expect as the months and years go by, my portfolio overall is going to do very well, as it has already since I've begun playing the crypto game. I'd like to thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.